Charles. May I call you Charles?
No.
No.
Actually not. No, well, no offense.
How do you go from, I'm sure, being named Charles to Chuck? Why did you pick Chuck?
I never picked it. It's a funny you say that. It's a pet peeve of mine. I didn't know my name was Charles. First day of school, teacher calls out Charles Todd, and I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Crickets.
Right, exactly. My parents called me Chuck apparently from the beginning. As a kid, when your name's Chuck, and as kids learn new words.
Right. Rhymes with things.
Rhymes with a lot of things.
From NBC News in Washington, this is Meet the Press.
Meet the Press.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations. Longest running show in television history. In 1947, when Meet the Press started, there was one network, NBC.
Right. And it started on radio, by the way.
It started on radio. Yeah. We told you what the news was.
That's right.
Now, news is everywhere. Right. There's far more than just one network. In fact, it went from 1 to 3 to 3 zillion. Right. How do people know what to believe?
I think the challenge that I'm trying to do on Meet the Press is that you have got to accept the fact of this new media. You've got to accept the fact of loud people just being disruptive in the way, just like the construction guys.
We just want you to know that we know. We hear it. There's not a lot we can do.
But that's actually the point. That's the media landscape. Yes, there are more opinion channels. There are more opinion writers and opinion reporters. Meet the Press needs to do a better job, I think, of reflecting the fact that, yes, there's populist conservatives, populist liberals that are angry at Washington, that disagree with each other. If Meet the Press can still be the gathering place for the entire political conversation, then that's how you rebuild trust.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, if you can rebuild a little bit of trust, a little bit of trust, a little bit of trust, maybe over time, you'll get people believing the media again.
While you are a journalist, you're a human, you have political leanings. Yes.
Yeah.
There you are.
I always say that we're all born with original bias. Where you're raised. I am biased by the nature of being born in Miami, Florida. We're all biased in some form or another. The question is, are you fair?
So when somebody's on your show saying something that you think is correct, and you don't want to show that because you don't want other people who are cracked to turn against you, what do you do with your face? How do you?
Well, look, I think you have to be, it's funny, I actually think sometimes that you can go too far in that, right? I mean, you got to reflect. If somebody's saying something kooky, say, that sounds kooky.
Hurry up, get off the stage, will ya?
Are you funny?
I'm hilarious.
Are you going to be funny on the show?
I hope so.
So
it's funny you say that. I mean, I actually think, it's funny, we got to be better about having a whole conversation about how people get politics, and humor's a great way of doing it.
You're doing great here, but I've got a few other guests here I want to talk to.
Can you do that? Can you be funny on a venerated program like Meet the Press?
I think you can pick your spots. And I think one of the things we're hoping to do more of is Meet the Press shouldn't be a Sunday morning ritual. I think it should be 7 days a week, and who's to say you can't be a little bit lighter those other days of the week?
You're going to be on 7 days a week?
Well, look at Talk Stoop.
Look at, You
guys are everywhere.
Thank you.
Right? My point is, it's not just television. It's not just the traditional media.
Well, how do you sex it up?
I think.
I mean, you are obviously sexing it up.
Hello.
Hello.
Right? Duh. Look, I think part of it is bringing in a different group of people. Everybody says, oh, it's about getting younger. It's not necessarily about getting younger. It's just getting more relevant.
So what will people who watch see? Will we see Beyonce as a guest?
No. Look, I don't think. I think that cheapens it. And no offense to Hollywood when they get involved in politics. It's not just about Hollywood, New York, Washington. And I think sometimes we allow ourselves in politics to get caught up in sort of those three axes.
What I'm saying is,
I gotta hit the pause button here, Joe.
Tough questions.
I think a lot about political discussion because my family's always arguing about what's going on in Israel. Or people are always talking about what we should do here, there, or the other. And I have to admit that I'm left feeling sometimes like, who cares what you think? Unless you're going to go down there or out there or up there and do something, what is the value in political
I disagree.
discourse?
I think the discourse matters because if we're going to be a successful democracy, it's participatory. It demands that you have these arguments because at the end of the day, that argument does filter around and it does get to the politician.
You've not said the word Syria so far in our conversation.
So you feel like your role on Meet the Press or anywhere that you keep the discourse going is as an educator?
Educator and translator. I also believe that, like a translator in Washington. Demystify Washington for America, but also let Washington know what America thinks.
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Presently, Meet the Press is a Sunday morning news talk show. What's the plan moving forward?
Look, Meet the Press is the best brand of politics, period. When you think politics, you think Meet the Press. So politics isn't 1 hour a day on a day that people also go to church.
Right.
No, Meet the Press.
Oh, you're
it's
competing
gotta
with
be.
church.
No, it's well, it's true. Which
That's
I
a
think,
big one.
No, it is a big one. Fridays and Saturdays people go out, but Sundays they're hungover. And
Oh my
recover,
goodness
right?
gracious! You just called our nation one of alcoholics. I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm not saying alcoholics in a bad way.
What's the biggest thing that
Washington, Colorado, they're just stoned.
I mean, if everybody has their way, soon we can be stoned legally.
Washington really ought to be thinking about this. Legalize it all the way, because if America's stoned, maybe they're not paying full attention to what they're actually doing in Washington.
Am I going to get fired if we put that on the air, do you think? So, all right, well, I think then that's a really good time to end the interview.
Being facetious.
I love you. Okay, thanks. Congratulations. Mazel tov.
No, well, thank you.
Uh-oh, coffee on dress.
Wow.
It happens.